Yeah, good morning, and that's Uncle Lou here. I'm not sure why everybody's wanting me to do a Dan Lanning video. I did a Dan Lanning video 2 or 3 days ago, the day before it became official when the rumors started, and I pretty much gave all my thoughts on what I thought about Dan Lanning leaving and becoming the Oregon head coach. And then I said the only question I have is he going to stay through the playoffs or leave immediately for Oregon? And of course, now we know the answer to that. He is going to stay on staff at UGA through the end of Georgia's season. Whether that's one more game or two more games, we'll find out. But not as defensive coordinator, it turns out. Kirby's going to make Will Muschamp defensive coordinator or co-defensive coordinator. And this is great. Will Muschamp, in my opinion, should be in line to get the DC job if he wants it for next year. I mean, say what you want about Will Muschamp, the guy's an elite defensive mind. There's lots of examples of elite coordinators who just didn't work out as head coaches, and this isn't something I'm saying because Will Muschamp is at UGA. I've been saying this all along about Will Muschamp and his defensive mind. He's at UGA all year. Started out as an analyst, sort of an off the field coach, an analyst position this season, and then when Scott Cochran had to go away for treatment, he became an on field coach. So. Dan Lanning, still showing up at practice every day, but not the defense coordinator. Won't be calling the defensive plays in the playoffs. I don't know. For somebody, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't. It's definitely not something I'm going to point to and say, well, if we lose, it's because Dan Lanning. No, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Georgia's loaded with elite defensive minds over there. I'm not concerned about that at all. But what is strange to me is for a head coach, Kirby Smart, who has been preaching from the mountaintops about how important continuity is. Well, this isn't continuity. You're replacing your defensive coordinator before the playoffs. Now, I understand why you're doing it, and I don't think it's a big deal. Just like I didn't buy it when we're starting Stetson Bennett for continuity. Yeah, well, continuity out the window now. Will Muschamp comes in. Well, Will Muschamp's been working for Georgia for 15 years. I mean, and there's proof, video proof of me. I'm the proof. I've been telling you on YouTube since I started in 2014 that Will Muschamp worked for UGA and never stopped working for UGA, including his stints as head coach at Florida, head coach at South Carolina, defensive coordinator at Auburn, wasn't it? He worked for Georgia the entire time. Will Muschamp played for Georgia, and ever since then, he's been coaching for Georgia. He was an undercover agent. We sent him around, sent him to Florida, South Carolina, lose a bunch of games. Now he's just working for Georgia in an official capacity. But he's been working behind the scenes for Georgia the entire time. So I don't, to me, this is no huge deal. I mean, this is just part of what happens in college football. When you put together a really good staff and you win a bunch of games, you can expect teams to come calling, looking to poach your coordinators. I mean, it's not like Georgia's the first team to go through this. It happens to Alabama almost every year. It's happening to Clemson right now. They lost both their offensive and defensive coordinators in the last couple of weeks and their athletic director. Is Clemson coming apart at the seams? I might have to make a video on that too. So I don't think it's a huge deal, and it's not unexpected. And I think I said this in the previous Dan Lanning video too. If you were to sit me down and say, Lou, you're going to lose one of your coordinators this year, which one would you rather lose and which one would you rather keep? If I had to lose one, it would be Dan Lanning. And it's nothing against Dan Lanning. It's just that Kirby is a defensive guy. So I'm more comfortable moving forward with new defensive coordinators than I am losing Todd Monken, an offensive coordinator that I happen to love. I love Todd Monken. I love the offense that he runs. I love everything about Todd Monken so far. So if I had to lose one, it would be Dan Lanning, and it looks like Todd Monken is going to stay. Anything can happen. Look, I'm not willing to rule anything out this offseason. With some of the stuff we've seen with coaches moving around from school to school and just some of the weird hires that we've seen, not ruling anything out. I wouldn't be blown away or shocked if somebody came looking for Todd Monken, but it looks as though he's going to stay, at least right now. And he's the one of the two I would rather keep. And again, that's nothing against Dan Lanning. I think he's great. And I think he'll do okay at Oregon. They've got some talent there already because, whatever you think about Mario Cristobal's inability to consistently get the most out of his team, head-scratching losses for Mario Cristobal every single year, multiple of them. I mean, getting blown out by Utah twice this year, losing to a 3-win Stanford team or whatever it was, all in the same season with the 2 Utah losses. Weird. But he's recruited really, really well, so there's going to be some talent there. So, I think he'll do okay there. Now, we'll see how he is running a program. And this is always the question when you bring a guy in who's never been a head coach before, because it's a totally different skill set running an offense or a defense as a coordinator. That's a totally different skill set than being a head coach where you're responsible for managing and running the program, right? You're not, as a head coach, you're not so much responsible for the ins and outs offensively and defensively as you are the overarching direction, philosophy, whatever you want to call it, of the program. And it's a different skill set to run and manage a program than it is to run or manage an offense or a defense. And you don't really know whether a guy's going to have the ability to do that until you make him a head coach, and you just have to find out, right? Will Muschamp did not have the necessary abilities to run a program. Jeremy Pruitt did not have the necessary abilities to run a program. There's several examples of that. Kirby Smart, on the other hand, never been a head coach before, done okay at Georgia. So we've seen it go both ways, so there's no way to know. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of hurdles to jump over into Pac-12. I mean, Southern Cal with Lincoln Riley is interesting to keep an eye on. Utah seems to put a consistently pretty good team on the field. Arizona State's, an 8-9 win team almost every year, it seems like. But so not a whole lot of hurdles there. So we'll see how he does. I don't know. Recruiting, what's his staff going to look like? All that kind of stuff. There's just no way to know. I do know that Dan Lanning is starting out 0-1 as a head coach. That's interesting, right? Georgia plays Oregon week 1 next year. Neutral site game. I think that's the Chick-fil-A kickoff classic or something in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Oregon can come down and take on the Dogs. So Lanning will start 0-1. But that doesn't mean anything. Georgia's top 5 program. Almost anybody that played Georgia first next year would start 0-1, just like Clemson this year. Boy, Clemson, man, geez. Are they falling apart at the seams? Terrible quarterback play, no offense this year. Well, how's the recruiting? Replacing both coordinators. I know Clemson has replaced coordinators before, but replacing both in the same year? We'll see. We'll see what Dabo can do with that. He's changed his mind on the transfer portal. That I can promise you. Clemson definitely be going in the transfer portal this offseason. Another promise that Dabo's not going to keep, right? Remember Dabo said, the day players start getting money is the day I quit coaching. Well, players are getting money, and you're still coaching. So, that was a lie. And then you said you'd never use the transfer portal. Well, we're about to find out that was a lie. You're about to be in the transfer portal like a pig in shit, just wallowing around in it. That's what you're going to be doing. It's what you should have been doing all along, but you're hard-headed, stubborn, and partly stupid. So that's what that was. But maybe I'll make a Clemson video. I don't know. Anyway, Georgia versus Michigan coming up New Year's Eve. Great game that's going to be. Oh, Jim Harbaugh won Coach of the Year. I need to make a video about that too.